We have Economics Paper 1 from May 2019. Which one of the following is a factor of production? When we're talking about factor of production, we're talking about resources that helps in the production of goods and services. And we have land, labor, capital, and enterprise. So based on the options here that we have here, profit is not a factor of production. It is a reward for enterprise. Wages is not a factor of production. It is a reward for labor. Manufacturing means production, producing goods. So which production, that means conversion of raw materials into finished goods. That's manufacturing. So it is not. Land is the only factor of production here. So the answer is A. Clear, right? Good. Go to question B. A firm has a total fixed cost of 40,000 per month and variable cost of 150 per unit. If it produces 1,000 units, what are the total costs per month for the firm? Total cost is fixed cost plus variable cost. And when we talk about fixed costs are costs that does not change as level of output changes, while variable costs are the cost that changes as level of output changes. So TC is TFC plus TVC. So here we have our FC to be $40,000. Then our VC is 150 per unit. So that means 150 multiplied by 1,000 units, which is $150,000. So we say TC is FC plus VC. That means 40,000 plus 150,000, which is 190,000. So the answer is A. Clear? Question C. What is meant by the term demand? Demand is the quantity of goods consumers are willing to buy at a given price and time. The quantity or the amount of goods consumers or individuals are willing to buy at a given price and time. Clear? We'll go to question D. State the formula for social cost. Social cost is private cost plus external cost. Private cost plus external cost, or external cost plus private cost. Clear? We'll go to question F. No, question E, sorry. Divide the term tertiary sector. When we talk about tertiary sector, we're talking about the sector of the economy that provides services. Example, retailing, insurance, banking, tourism. These are tertiary sector. Clear? Move on. Question F. We have a schedule there. It says, figure 1 shows the cost of production per month for a firm making 2,000 units. The unit is there, the total fixed cost is there, the total variable cost is there. We're told to calculate the average cost per unit. Average cost is total cost divided by output, TC divided by Q. So TC here is TFC plus TVC. So we need to find our TC, which is 7340 plus TVC, which is 4760. That gives us 12,100. So 12,100 divided by the unit, which is 2,000, gives us $6.05. Clear? Question G. Graph a bit smaller. Everybody can see. Okay. It's fine now. So we have, so using the diagram below, draw the effect on the market for crops after a hurricane destroys farmland. Label the new curve, the new equilibrium price, and the new equilibrium quantity. Before we go into that, what is equilibrium? So equilibrium is agreement between quantity demanded and quantity supplied. Equilibrium price is the price of agreement. Equilibrium quantity is the quantity of agreement. I think the point is clear. Yes. Hurricane is a natural disaster. So now I'm answering the question. Hurricane is a natural disaster, which means it will affect the supply of crops. So affecting the supply of crops means it will reduce the quantity supply of crops. So that means the quantity will reduce from QE1 to from QEE to QE1 to the left here. Bringing about a shift in the supply curve leftward from S to S1. As a result, there will be movement in the demand curve upward from PE to PE1 to PE1. That means the price will be. That means we're going to have a high new equilibrium price, a low equilibrium quantity, and a leftward shift in the supply curve. Clear? So the graph is here drawn. So we'll move on. Okay, good. So go to G now, or H, right?
Yeah.
Explain one reason why the demand for these tickets, he said, concert tickets to see the most popular, let me expand it now. Okay. Concert tickets to see the most popular music artists can sell for very high prices. Explain one reason why the demand for these tickets might be price inelastic. When we talk about price inelastic, it means there's no significant change in the quantity demanded as a result of the change in price. So according to these statements, the price is high,
Yeah.
and the quantity demanded is not reducing. There's no significant change in quantity demanded.
Mhm.
So what could be the reason for that? One, I wrote low. They said two. They said one reason, right?
Yeah.
I gave two anyway. So the first one I wrote about is low proportion of income spent. So if the proportion of income you have to spend for the concert is less, that means you are making more money, and the concert ticket is just less percentage of what you are spending. So that means you won't care about the price. You would as well buy the ticket.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would low proportion of income spent. The demand for tickets might be price inelastic if the price is lower to the level of income. So by household, meaning the amount of tickets, the amount tickets are sold doesn't have any effect on income. So that means it will still be price inelastic.
Yeah.
But when we look at the case study here, we could talk about the lack of substitutes. So when we talk about lack of substitute, it means one, it's a live concert, meaning that the artist will be seen live. So if you are not in the concert, you won't be able to see those artists live.
Yeah.
So that means you don't have any other choice. So that there's no other artist available that you could watch at that point in time. So lack of substitute might result into wanting to see the artist live on the concert. As a result, you won't care about the price of it.
Yeah.
Is it clear?
Yeah.
So no matter what the amount is, you would want to buy it. You want to buy the ticket because it's just a one-time chance.
Yeah.
Clear?
Clear.
Go on. Question I. Introduced in 1935. Inca Cola is a yellow gold colored fizzy soft drink that is popular all over Peru. By 1995, Inca Cola had grown to become a stronger competitor of Coca-Cola. Inca Cola had a 32.9% market share compared to Coca-Cola, which is having 32%. By 2014, Coca-Cola owned 48.5% of Inca Cola shares. With reference to the data above and your knowledge of economics, analyze the possible reasons for Coca-Cola purchasing shares in Inca Cola. So, based on the case study, Inca Cola and Coca-Cola are competitors. So, the first thing we need to talk about is competition itself. So, what is competition? Competition is a rivalry that exists between firms within the same industry, which we have Coca-Cola and Inca Cola as an example. So what are the possible reasons why Coca-Cola might buy the shares of Inca Cola? Number one, based on the case study, they said Inca Cola is a major competitor for Coca-Cola and the market leader, which makes it more interesting to invest in. So here, they are both competitors.
Yeah.
Inca Cola is having the largest market share, which is slightly above that of Coca-Cola. So it means Coca-Cola might find it attractive to invest in Inca Cola. Clear. Good. That's the first point there. Second point. Coca-Cola purchase of shares in Inca Cola means competition reduces as Coca-Cola does not longer compete with the so-called market leader. Inca Cola is the market leader. Yeah. Yes or no?
Yeah.
So Coca-Cola buying shares of Inca Cola, investing in Inca Cola means Coca-Cola does not need to compete with Inca Cola anymore. So Coca-Cola literally becomes the market leader.
Yeah.
Clear.
Yeah.
The third point I make is that Inca Cola seems successful in the Peruvian fizzy drink market. So Coca-Cola buying it makes it more interesting for Coca-Cola. You know, Inca Cola is successful in the fizzy drink industry, which Coca-Cola is not having a strength in.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So buying the shares makes Coca-Cola have strength in the Peruvian market for fizzy drink. Clear?
Yeah.
And the last point I make is about, though you are supposed to make 3 points anyway, but I made 4. And the last point I make is buying the shares means that Coca-Cola has much more control over the Peruvian markets. So go to question 2. Are you there?
Yes.
For question 2, so which one of the following is part of the economic problem of scarcity? When we talk about the economic problem is scarcity, which means how to allocate resources. So to allocate resources, we need 3 basic economic questions, which leads to the problem: what to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce, what to produce, how to produce, for whom to produce to. So those are the 2 economic questions. So they say, which one of the following is part of the economic problem of scarcity? When to produce is not about it. What to produce is the type of production we need to make for these resources. Whether to produce is not a question. Where to produce is never going to be a question. So the answer is B. Clear? So go to the next question, where we have a PPC. And you know what a PPC represents? It represents the combination of 2 goods. Okay. A PPC represents the combination of 2 goods. Here we have agricultural goods and non-agricultural goods that can be produced if all resources are fully utilized or employed. That is what a PPC curve represents. So here we have point W, point Z, point X, point Y. For point W, it means we are producing more of agricultural goods, producing none of non-agricultural goods. Point Z means we are producing more of non-agricultural goods, producing few of agricultural goods. Point X means resources are not fully employed. Point Y is non-attainable, non-achievable, non-obtainable. So the question now says, which one of the following points is not achievable or non-obtainable or non-obtainable? The point is at Y. So the answer is C. Clear? So we move on to question C. Are you there? Great. So they said, calculate the price elasticity of demand for a product where the price increases by 15% and the quantity demanded falls by 12%. First, what is price elasticity of demand? Price elasticity of demand is the degree of responsiveness between the quantity demanded of a product as a result of a change in price. That is price elasticity of demand. So here we have 50% increase, and for 50% increase, it means there's 100% at the beginning. So our P1, so PED is Q2 minus Q1 over Q1 divided by P2 minus P1 over P1. That means percentage change in quantity demanded over percentage change in price. Where our P1 is 100%, which is constant, then our P2 will be 100% plus 15% increase. So which makes P2 115. Our Q1 is certain 100%, and our Q2 is minus 12%. That's 100% minus 12%, which is 88. So our P1 is 100, P2 is 115, Q1 is 100, Q2 is 88. So we have 88 minus 100 over 100 divided by 115 minus 100 over 100. That gives us a negative 12 over 100 divided by 15 over 100. We reciprocate. So minus 12 over 100 multiplied by 100 over 15 gives us minus 1200 divided by 1500, which gives us minus 0.8. So the answer is negative 0.8, which makes it price inelastic. Clear? We'll go to the next question, D. Define the term innovation. When you talk about innovation, innovation simply means creating a new product or service from an idea. Clear?
Clear.
We move on. E. State one factor that will cause a demand curve to shift to the left. A demand curve shifting to the left means the quantity demanded has reduced as a result of a non-price factor, such as maybe level of income or taste and fashion, availability of substitutes. Do you understand?
Yes.
So one factor I mentioned here is level of income. Well, they said we should mention level of income. So a fall in the level of income will bring about a fall in disposable income or a fall in consumption, shifting the demand curve leftward. Clear? We move on to F. Nearly 70 million people live in Dhaka, the capital of Bangladesh. The majority of the people live in the city center. The case study is there for us to read, but it's going to take time reading. So they said Dhaka has a large number of auto rickshaws competing for fares. Apart from price, describe one advantage for passengers of this competition. Competition, we said, is a rivalry that exists between firms in the same industry, right? Great. One of the advantages about competition is that it reduces prices for consumers. So aside price, what other advantage does competition bring about? So here I wrote, an increase in competition may bring about increasing choices for consumers. So when competition is increasing, it means choices for consumers increases. As a result, it becomes easier for passengers to choose or to hire different rickshaws. Do you get it? Choices. Then it means they can hire whichever one they want. Clear? Question G. Are you there? With reference to the information given in beating the congestion in Dakar, I think one reason why prices for journeys using an auto rickshaw might be higher outside the city center. Here I wrote, the prices of journeys using auto rickshaw might be higher outside the city center because the supply of auto rickshaw might be less than its demand. So if supply is less than demand, it means demand is more than supply. As a result of that, and according to the case study, they said 17 million people live in Dakar, that's the city center, out of the city center. That means a lot of people are in the city center, making it interesting for drivers to work in the city center than outside the city center. So that means the supply of rickshaw in the city center will be more than outside the city center. So the supply is less. And if the supply is less, that means the price will be higher. Is it clear? Any question about that?
No.
So we go to question H. There's a case study there, which I'm just going to let the students go through it. Then we'll move on. With reference to the data above and your knowledge of economics, assess the extent to which changes in technology may reduce the shortage of car parking spaces in city center. First, shortage comes as a result of demand greater than supply. Do you get that? So, advancement without advancement in technology, that means demand for parking space will still be more than supply. So now there is advancement in technology through the APS, right? Advanced parking space. So I wrote, shortage comes as a result of demand greater than supply, as in the context. Without the advancement in technology, more parking spaces are demanded than supplied, which means demand is increasing. Do you get the point there? So demand is increasing if there's no advancement in technology. Now, introduction of APS. So an introduction of APS will increase the supply of spaces, shifting the supply curve rightward. Do you get the point? The third point, advancement in technology will reduce shortages of space, which can be graphically represented as, so APS will bring about an increase in the quantity of space, which will increase from Q1 to Q2, bringing about a rightward shift in the quantity supply from S1 to S2, bringing about a movement along the demand curve based on price, falling from P1 to P2. This is the graph. You see, that's the graph. So, however, some motorists may lack information about the benefit of APS. As a result, may not even use it. It's an advantage, but some people might lack information. The motorists, they might lack information. And if they lack information, they won't understand the benefit of having APS. As a result, they might not use it. That's the first point. And the other point I wrote about is an assessment. So the other point I wrote is that yes, they are increasing the APS, but what about if more vehicles are available than the APS? So the demand, that means the number of vehicles may have increased more than the APS available. So which means it does not have, there will still be shortage. Is it clear? That's H. Any questions about question 2?
No.
We're done with question 2, May, June 2019. So go to question 3, right?
Yeah.
We go to question 3. A product has an income elasticity of demand of 0.16. Which one of the following best describes this product? When we talk about income elasticity of demand, it's the degree of responsiveness between the quantity demanded of the product as a result of a change in the level of income. So if it is a negative, it brings about inferior good. That's the point there. So a negative YED is an inferior good. A negative YED brings about an inferior good. So the answer is D. Clear?
Sure.
Go to question B. Which one of the following is a diseconomy of scale? An increase in productivity will bring about economies of scale. An increase in bureaucracy. Bureaucracy is when there are a lot of paperwork, there are a lot of administrative work that delays information, that delays decision, and that could lead to diseconomies of scale. A business might become so big that bureaucracy takes charge. So the answer is B. So we go to C, a decrease in the cost of research and development. A decrease in the cost of research and development brings about a reduction in average cost. So it is not diseconomy, it's rather economy of scale. A decrease in government regulation. A decrease in government regulation will bring about a fall in the cost of production, which is also going to link to average cost falling. So the answer is B. Clear? Good. Go to C. Have the graph. Okay. So based on so using the diagram below, draw the effect of a minimum wage being set above the equilibrium wage rate. Label the new quantity of labor demand, the new quantity of labor and new quantity of labor supply. So first, minimum wage itself. What is minimum wage? Minimum wage is the acceptable wage firms have to pay to the lowest or the least worker based on government regulation. That is minimum wage. And when you talk about equilibrium wage rate is the wages that is agreed between the demand for labor and the supply of labor. The wage agreed between the demand for labor and supply of labor. So the equilibrium wage rate here is WE. I think you can see it. So when wage rate is set above the equilibrium wage rate, when the wage rate is set above the equilibrium wage rate, it has an impact on quantity supply of labor and the quantity demanded of labor. The quantity demanded for labor and the quantity supply of labor. So I wrote, when wage rate is set above the equilibrium wage rate, it is favorable to workers. So the quantity supply of labor would increase. While it becomes a cost to employers, which means the quantity demanded will reduce. And the QS will increase, while QS will increase and the QD will reduce. And this can be graphically represented as this. So based on the graph, the quantity demanded for labor would reduce from QE to QD. It will reduce. And the quantity supply of labor would increase because there's an incentive to work. So it will increase from QE to QS. Do you get the point here? Why is it so? Here, firms will not be able to increase the number of workers because it will represent a high cost of wages, which means a high cost of production, reducing their profits. So it will fall because the price is now above this is the price. It's above. So above it means more supply of labor, less demand for labor. Do you get it? So this is the representation. Clear? Any question about that? Okay, we'll move on. So the next one says, question D, right?
Yeah.
With the reference to the case study, which we're not going to read because it's there already for people to read. Okay. Now they said, with reference to the data above and your knowledge of economics, analyze why Canadian firms may have been struggling to hire the labor they need. First, what is labor? Labor is the physical and mental effort needed in the course of producing goods and services. And the reward for labor is wages done, right? Now, firms in Canada may have been struggling to hire labor they need based on the following reasons. One, the demand for specialists, because here we're talking about computer engineers and web designers. These are special skills. Yes or no? So the demand for specialist skills such as computer engineering and web designing might be increasing rapidly than the supply, which makes it difficult for firms to hire. That's the first point. The second point I make is that the proportion of the population in Canada taking courses and knowledge on computer engineering and web designing might be lower than the supply of labor. So that means the numbers of people studying or having training on these courses are less. So that means the supply will be less. That's the second point. The third point I make is lack of geographical mobility. There's geographical mobility of labor or geographical occupation, which means the movement of people from one geographical area to another based on job. So Canada is a very large country. Because it is so large, some people who have those skills, they might have the skills, but they find it difficult to move from one area to another. As a result, the supply of labor for such skill might be less in certain area in Canada. Clear?
Yeah.
That's what I wrote about it. That's 3 points anyway, which is done. So go to question E, right?
Yes.
We have the case study about productivity. With reference to the data above and your knowledge of economics, assess the extent to which an increase in education and training is the best way to increase productivity. So I support and oppose because they said we should assess it. So you have to talk about the benefits and the limitations too.
Yeah.
So first, what is productivity itself? Productivity is the measure of a country, an output with input. So I wrote productivity is output as a measurement of input. Clear? Clear, right?
Yes.
So education and training. Education and training brings about improvement in skills and knowledge. So improvement in skills and knowledge will basically increase what you don't know. Improves what you don't know, what you used to know. What you used to know, you get more to know about what you don't know. That means it will affect your productivity. So education and training will improve you as an individual, which will reflect in what you are producing. That means output will increase, which means productivity. Okay. So that's about the first thing. Then the next one I wrote, education and training brings about job satisfaction. You know, when people are being trained, they are happy. And when they are happy, it brings about job satisfaction. Job satisfaction comes through job enrichment, job enlargement, and job rotation. All these things are entailed in training and education. So people are happy. And when they are happy, they are motivated. Motivation will bring about increasing productivity. Clear? So the third one, some aspect of jobs needs technicality. So these things need technical, technical knowledge. That means we can't get this knowledge without training. So training is important to be able to carry out those functions.
Yeah.
Clear? So that's the importance of training and education. However, some firms might feel reluctant to want to train employees. Why? Because when employees acquire this knowledge and skills, they become attractive to competitors, and they might choose to leave, which becomes a loss for the firms. Two, education and training are beneficial in the long term. Education and training are long-term benefits, not present benefits.
Yeah.
As a result, it takes time to make education and training become beneficial, which we need something about now, which education and training might not be able to do. You are investing now for future gain, which might not be good for the business. The third point is that some firms might choose to be capital intensive because education and training is labor intensive. So some firms might choose to invest in equipment rather than human capital. Is it clear? So those are the points I made. Are they clear? Okay. So go to question 4. Question 4. Figure 6 shows the quantity of goods supplied and demand at different price levels. So go down. Let's see what it said. Let me make it a bit smaller so we can see what it said. Using the information in figure 6, calculate the excess supply of goods in the market at a price of $50. You are advised to show your working. Okay. For what is excess supply? Excess supply is as a result of a price charged above the equilibrium price. So whenever there's a price, whenever the price is charged, raises above the equilibrium price, it brings about excess supply. So excess supply is here, above here, excess supply, above here, that's excess supply. So the difference here is that the excess supply we have at the price of 50 is 50 to 20. 50 to 20. Do you get it?
Yeah.
When you trace the graph, you trace it upward to where excess supply is 50 to 20. So that's 50 minus 20, which is 30. So excess supply is 30. Clear? Move on. Competition and Market Authority warns online sellers about collusion. So we have the question immediately. With reference to the data and above and your knowledge of economics, analyze why collusion may be a disadvantage for online consumers buying electrical equipment. First, what is collusion? Excuse me. Collusion occurs when firms in the same industry come together to decide about price. They form a cartel. Collusion is, I wrote collusion. Collusion occurs when firms within the same industry come together to form a cartel in deciding the price and market share. That is what collusion is about. Clear? So collusion may be disadvantaged to online customers or consumers based on the following reasons. One, collusion between firms reduces competition, which means firms have a sort of understanding putting consumers at their mercy. So consumers become vulnerable to businesses or firms because the large firms have come together to decide about how they share the market or price. Two, collusion reduces choices for consumers. As a result, they have to pay higher prices for electrical appliances or equipment, reducing their disposable income. Clear? Third point. Collusion means online electrical equipment firms may restrict supply. You know, we said collusion means you might two large firms in Libya. One might choose Tripoli, one might choose Misrata. So choosing Misrata means the large one here will not be able to go to Misrata, and it means customers in Misrata would not be able to have access to the firm or the goods produced here in Tripoli. So that reduces their choices. Yes or no?
Yeah.
So it means there could be shortage in the market. Clear? Go to question C. I have a case study too. Supermarkets in Netherlands. With reference to the data above and your knowledge of economics, evaluate how firms might be influenced by competing in an oligopoly, such as supermarkets in the Netherlands. First, what is oligopoly? Oligopoly is a market structure where few large firms dominate the industry. Okay. So that's the first thing you have to write. So example here is Albert Heijn, Super Uni, and Jumbo. They are the few large firms in the industry, and they have the largest market share. When combined together, they have more than 80%. Clear? So the rest share is the 20% or less than 20%. Clear? So the larger firms tend to, now, the influences. The larger firms tend to operate on a larger scale, which means they can enjoy or exploit economies of scale. And exploiting economies of scale means average cost of production would fall for them. And a fall in average cost of production might increase their profitability. So they might still make more profit, which is good there. So the third one, oligopoly is known for large investment on advertisement and branding due to non-pricing competition. In oligopoly, there's what we call non-pricing competition. They don't fight with price. So they rather invest in advertisement or branding. Investing in advertisement and branding means that new businesses wanting to come into that industry might be scared. Like Pepsi, Coca-Cola, they are dominating and their investment on advertisement is huge. So a Latif Cola would be scared to go into that business because Latif would be scared like, oh, will I be able to match up with sort of advertisement? They use world players like Lionel Messi, Ronaldo. Will I be able to afford these players? No. So it brings about barriers to entry. And that is good for those businesses there. Do you get it? So I wrote, oligopoly is known for large investments on advertisement and branding due to non-pricing competition between firms. As a result, higher investment on advert may reduce the number of new firms wanting to start up, creating a barrier to entry. So these are the things they enjoy. Large firms in that industry, these are the things they enjoy. They enjoy economies of scale, which allows them to make more profit. They restrict others from coming into the industry. Clear? However, they have their own setbacks too. One, the small firms in the industry, they might target a niche market. They might find a gap. You know, large firms, they don't care about smaller deals. So the small firms might survive as a result of that, finding a niche in that market. Like Inca Cola did in the world, finding a niche, fizzy drinks, which Coca-Cola doesn't have strength in. So, okay, I wrote, smaller firms can still, however, large firms might still struggle due to the following reason. One, they might have to compete through non-pricing methods, which means advertising, loyalty, branding. These things are expensive. When you have to advertise, I cannot compete with price, so I cannot reduce the price. So I have to do an advertisement that would supersede yours. Do you understand? So to come up with an advertisement or to invest in advertisement that might supersede yours might mean that I have to spend more. that is an expensive. That's an expenses, increasing the expenses for.
Yeah.
That is not good for the business. Yeah. And two, the market is dynamic. That means every now and then things will change.
Yeah.
So if you feel you're the top, you do not invest in innovation, you don't come up with new products. The ones that come up with new ideas, new products might outshine you and take away your customers. So I wrote, there's dynamism in the market, which means dominance of the large firms might be cut short. They might not dominate for a long period of time because of dynamism. So if the smaller ones are able to come up with products that are new, that customers would like, they might shift from buying from you to going to buy from them. So these are the things you might lose as a large business. Clear? Yeah. So that ends May, June 2019, paper 1.